an animistic way of thinking or belief system. So, and we have
It seems
to
also that you feel that there's a danger of this becoming very linked into a romanticism or a kind of escapism to sort of pretend, again, there was this time when humans on the planet lived in peace and harmony and then that ended.
What is at stake here is always value. Here, this pretends value exists in itself, and it is produced from outside. So it's a heteronomous system. Other nomos law. The law comes from outside, and this is on the far right. It's a sort of humanistic, autonomous, autonomy sort of big theme. Liberty is autonomy. Auto, myself, nomos, law. I produce the law. So this is very heteronomous. I'm not judging. I'm saying I'm trying to create a mapping. This is a very heteronomous system, meaning the values exist in themselves and are beyond humans. And this is much more here on the far right saying values only exist because we express them and state them and express them. Where I try to find sort of a middle ground. I don't know if it's possible, but I know this one is blind or almost hysterical in his blindness and producing a huge ecocide right now. And this one, hey, be careful because who's deciding? If everything has a value in itself, who's going to say this tree has more value than this bush? Who? If it's not a human voice.
What have we got down here?
Down here we have
ecological economics.
Yeah. I'm also very interested in this. Eco-racism, where we know, or also environmentalism of the poor. If you look at geography and you look at where we put the dumping sites, the freeway, the highway, and so on, it's always in the poor areas. It's always also in racially dominant. Color dominant. At least in the north, You see that.
So the zoning runs along racial lines as well. Yeah.
Racial and social lines. There's a clear connection between both. If you study a city in the US or in Europe, you would make that connection with human geography. Clearly. So this is also very important to me. Here simply the word that you used earlier.
These little arrows crossing your central axis between the north and south.
Entropy this way, energy this way, or resources this way.
And in this case, again, the environmentalism of the poor. What you're now doing through this diagram would be to suggest that actually, in a way, all parts of the world have simultaneously an environmentalism of the rich and an environmentalism of the poor. The distribution of them is predominantly globally seen within an idea of some countries and some nations. But nevertheless, if we were to look at any northern metropolis, we would also see these dynamics being played out in small areas. In regards
to smaller scale.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Where decisions are to put rubbish dumps or where.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here I've written under extractivism uneven access to resources. And then an arrow who says primary goods, capabilities.
You can't remember what that particular little idea was. Primary goods.
The access to primary goods actually. How does the South access? Actually, there's this concept of give me a second, and I'll find the word again. resource curse.
Resource curse.
Yeah, curse. Meaning that we know that a lot of countries in the south are hugely rich. The soil is hugely rich, but almost none of them is a rich country.
There's this bizarre index which suggests quite the opposite of many of the countries which have the highest mineral wealth are the most war-torn and the most socially deprived.
Yeah, exactly.
Most poor. Yeah.
So actually, if like Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the richest countries on the planet, and it's one of the poorest in terms of Human Development Index. Meaning that the curse is that the political and governance system put in place does not allow it that everybody enjoys those resources. They are captured by a local elite, which is completely corrupt and in relation with the global north. So they don't even have access to their own primary resources, rich primary resources. So they cannot develop what the economist Amartya Sen calls capabilities, which is to be human, to be free, is not an abstract concept, but it's
a product of how we organize ourselves.
Yes, it means that you have already the capability of living, thinking. You received education, you received resources. There's a possibility to create wealth together. So you first need those capacities that were given to you, that you could develop to be really free.
And this is what he refers to as capability. So
yes,
it's not about raw material, but it's about the infrastructure and stability and things which allow that to then be transformed into social well-being.
Yes, exactly. There's sort of like a different understanding of what is it to be free. Yeah. The North is going to say, every human being is born a free human being, and as such we should build a liberal capitalistic system, whereas Amartya Sen is going to say no, to be free means first that you have received those goods, education, resources, and so on. So they have the resources to be able to build those capacities, but they don't have access to them because they're stolen by the local elite, which is corrupt and
who are
selling,
employed by the global north.
Exactly. And here we have ecological.
Let's finish it off. I mean,
environmental security, environmental source of subsistence, et conditions de la santé humaine. Yeah, but this has something to do. This is all of it
linked into this question of access to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, these are the inequalities which you're describing, and here are. And instabilities are dominant in this area, which is interesting because that particular quadrant, which is linking this kind of instrumentalization model with that of what we're calling South in a way, or a space of unequal flows, is where many of the. On your diagram, at least, the most sort of difficult activities, the most ethically questionable activities are taking place.
Yeah, well, sort of the worst consequences and the worst if this, then that. I think we haven't talked about this, which is on the far right here of instrumental nature of sustainability as a pure managerial approach. So we have to fix pollution and resource depletion, fix the problem. So it's about eco-efficiency.
So we're also in the area of sort of techno fixes for environmental consequences.
And we need market innovation. So here